Okay, here we are, take two with the old Facebooks. I'm hoping that it goes well. I'm gonna pause just for a moment. Yay! Okay. Oh, it's still telling me that. Okay, I'm gonna go until it tells me that I can't go anymore. We'll see. So, I wanted to hop on and kind of give you all just a surprise little live mini training on setting intentions for 2022, because this time of year there really is a lot of pressure on getting it right and on just, making this the best year ever, right? There's so much, this is a transitional time, and transitional times can be very exciting, and they also can be very stressful. They can bring about a lot of pressure. And so when and if you're feeling that pressure of this time of year or not wanting to fail, I want to give you some really Sara love on some different ways that you can go about setting intentions, and really kind of boosting what you are able to experience for yourself this year. So my friend Hallie Plord Rogers and myself used to do what was called a Live with Intentions workshop, and we would do this at the beginning of the new year, because we were sitting around one day and we were just woefully disappointed with the resolution, the New Year's resolution. So the thing that I want to bring to your attention is that resolutions, the definition of it is an act of solving a problem. But the issue is that it's focused on, drum roll, the problem, okay? And so if you're setting a resolution, you are specifically honing in on a problem. But the issue is that it doesn't really work neuroscience-wise. So if we spend a lot of time focusing on the problem, then the problem starts to grow. The problem doesn't really go away because we are focusing a little too much on the problem. Now, it can be helpful in the world of when, there are certain times, of course, absolutely, where we need to solve a problem. Let's say, like, I don't know, a window is broken and we have to figure out how to take down the window and replace the window and put the new window in and, do all of the things to seal. So in those cases, we need that. But a lot of what I'm talking about here are matters of our heart, and that are really intimately linked with our, how we experience ourselves in our lives. So when that is happening, when we focus on the problem, it's really focused on hard and fast action and fixing it as if there is something wrong with you. And there is nothing, we've heard this before, right? There is nothing wrong with you. And so if you are a problem to fix, that is going to be problematic to being able to receive what it is that you put into your resolution, goal, intention for the year. Now, intention is an aim or a plan. And so the energy that really comes with that is more of expansion. It's more lightness. It's more possibility. Whereas the resolution is more of a hard and fast push, push, push. And intention is more of a pull. There's more of creativity here. Rolf Gates, Hallie found this quote. Rolf Gates shared that an intention is an effortless, ongoing creation. Effortless, ongoing creation. So think of flow. Y'all have heard me talk about flow before. Flow, this creation is a state of being in flow. So this effortless ongoing creation is something that I don't know about you, but we're trying to harness that type of energy. That's what we want when we're setting an intention. It is a reminder of how you want to be moving forward. And then it is supported by supportive action, as opposed to a hard and fast action with resolutions. So when it comes to time for any sort of new year, or any new month, or anytime I'm trying to set a new goal or intention, I'm setting intentions, and I would encourage you to do the same, as opposed to setting resolutions, and even as opposed to setting goals. Goals have their place, But really when it comes, like I said, to kind of matters of the heart and soul and our emotional self and some of these more deeper desires that we have, the world and energy of intention is where you're going to be more impactful. So that's the first thing. The other more practical thing that I want to share with you is that if you start, like, let's say journaling and jotting down what it is that you would like for yourself this year, if it goes into the should category, like I should eat better, I should, I don't know, clear the clutter, I should be better with my finances, anything that feels like a should to you, we need to transform into a want. Transform it into a want. I want this. I want that. And why do you want that? Really allow yourself to get into the why. Why do you want that? What will that bring you? Why is that important to you? So that when you're in that want free state of mind, you can know, I want to eat less sugar, let's say, so that I sleep better at night. Why do I want that? Because when I sleep better, I am less moody. And when I sleep better, I am more productive. And when I sleep better, I am more creative in my solutions and I feel more joyful in my body. So what I want is to be more joyful in my body. So we want to kind of whittle down. I really want to challenge you to kind of whittle down into what do you want and why do you want it? And then from here, we want to write your intention in the positive as if it has already happened form. The positive as if it's already happened form. So for example, if I want to reduce my sugar, if I don't want to eat as much sugar, that's spoken in the negative. I don't want to eat too much sugar. And so if I don't want to do that, well, what that's telling my brain, all my brain here is just eat sugar, eat sugar, eat sugar. Okay? And so it's not really neuroscience-wise helping whatsoever. I want to write it in the positive, and I want to write it in the manifested form, as if it has already happened. So in the positive, like an example would be, and this is a different example, I am joyful in my body when I run. So let's say I want to run, and how I want to feel is I want to feel joyful, and I know that that's where I'm trying to get to. And so I'm going to write it in the I feel joyful in my body, or I am joyful when I run. Okay? So the point of this is you sometimes have to backtrack in order to figure out why it is that you want something. Why do you want it? What is important about that goal? And so think about, how are you going to feel when you achieve this thing that you desire? How are you going to feel? And then kind of keep backing that to get to the point where you can write it as if it has already happened. As if it has already happened. The other thing that I wanted to share is most of the time, this time of year, we start listing all the things that we want to do. But when we're talking about the world of intentions, and I actually did the umbrella for, this was a soul purpose workshop that I did too. So I'm kind of using the same sort of concept. When we are talking about our intentions, I don't know, I'm drawing here. We want to think of an overarching intention, okay? And then all the little points of the umbrella would be your focuses. So let's say my overall intention is to feel joyful and happy, okay? And then that may be doing community service, that may be, walking 3 or 4 times a week, that may be having less sugar in my diet and feeling more energized. So there could be all sorts of different focus points. So if you find yourself just kind of listing things, notice that these are your focus points, and instead we want to get back to the intention, the overall desire, dream for yourself for this year. I really do want you to get into a state, I'll talk about this in a second, where you get into the desire of what it is that you desire for yourself. How do you want to feel? because it's less about what we achieve and what has been accomplished in the year at the end of the year that makes us feel good. It's more of how we are feeling as we are taking care of things, as we are living our life and accomplishing and taking supportive action. We want to keep in the energy and the flow of this supportive action, of creativity, of confidence, of courage. And so these are the things that I did a post recently about when a new client comes to work with me, how we set intentions and goals together, depending on how long they're working with me. I only do this with clients who are working with me for have committed to at least like three months at a time, because it takes about that long to accomplish something and to really get where we're trying to get. But with that, when we're setting these intentions, this is what I do, is that we have to get into the feeling state. Where are we going? So I want to encourage you to be doing that. Now, the other thing is to be in the space of creativity. If you're trying to set any intention or desire for the new year and you find, or anytime at all, and you find yourself getting stressed, getting anxious, I know I'm very like type A. I can get way up into my head as far as like if there's something that I really, really want and I just haven't figured out, how to like, and I feel I deserve it, right? And that it should be happening. But I'm getting really stressed around it. That's usually the time that I remind myself to back up, to put it down, and that now is not the time. Go for a walk. I will draw, I will dance. Dancing is a fantastic way to move energy. I will play, I will go cook, I'll find something else to do, I'll distract myself. Then you want to come back at a time where you are feeling in general more light and positive. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you just want to not be in this like, I've got to get it right, tense mode. If you feel the tension in your body, then you're not going to be in line with your inner core pelvic wisdom, okay, of how to access your soul's deeper intentions for you for this year or any time. Okay. And so time and time again, I found this. I tend to be way up in my inner critic, way wanting to, get things perfect. And so the more that I back off in those moments, put it down, and then I come back when I'm in a more expansive, creative state, that is when I get the more soul-aligned actions. And that's what I desire for you. So the other thing is get into a space of meditation. You can go on Insight Timer. It's an app, and I have several meditations that are there where you can, be able to really go into your core wisdom. I think most of you all have this download, but there's a meditation and connecting to your core confidence and to your inner core wisdom. There's a whole PDF on this. So if you go to if you don't recall it or don't think you have it, if you go to www.drsarasmith.com, on the top, you'll see an activate your core confidence. And there's a PDF and a meditation that goes with how we're getting into this inner wisdom. So when you're setting your intentions, go for a walk. You can be in a meditative space when you're out in nature, or you can just sit down, set a timer, lie down, be in a space, get in the bath, whatever you want to do, where you really can allow your breath and your body to settle, to feel released and relaxed, and get into a more open, prayerful, meditative place where you are going to be open to listening to the messages that are within your inner wisdom. And when I talk about your inner wisdom, I'm not just talking about I'm talking about your connection to your higher self with a capital H and a capital S. And so that higher self is not completely of you. It is of something higher than you. And so we then move beyond our little desires for our own selves and our small little worlds, and we go into something that is way more beneficial to our soul, to our purpose here on earth, to our connection with others. Okay, and so it can expand into something so beautiful that may even surprise you as far as your intentions for this year. Okay, the other two things that I wanted to share before I stop are when we're talking about matters of the heart, or if you have something that you really want to have happen, in any length of time, okay, but especially like this year, right? Like again, because we're talking, it's the top of the year almost, and we're specifically talking about that. But if it's a high stress point, if it's something that really gets to you, we all have these, right? They're the things that just gnaw at us that we know is right there for us and it hasn't happened yet. If these sorts of things are part of your intentions, you may find that you want a few intentions. So again, like usually we have one, but you all like an overarching intention, but you may find that you want 1, 2. I wouldn't do any more than 3, because then your sweet little brain and heart and everything, you'll just forget them. But if something's really stressful, I always say we want to find the path of least resistance. We want to find the path of least resistance. So let's say you want to find the love of your life, and that has been very difficult for you, and it creates just a lot of stress, and like you want to be happy about it, and you're like like you're trying to be positive about it, and you're like, okay, this is gonna happen. But then deep down, it's like it's been so difficult that there's a lot of stress and strain. We need to find the path of least resistance. So think of something else that's really meaningful to you that you can intend upon, that you can have an intention around. So for example, let's say clearing the clutter of your home, or financially working on something, or perhaps your health, okay, or nutrition. Like for example, Wendy Taylor, one of the dietitians and intuitive eating coaches who I've done a retreat with, she is doing a 30-day challenge. I think I posted it in our group actually. Of really how to kind of make this time, 30 days of making this time of year more easeful around food and taking care of ourselves. Because normally we're just like out of the gate, like, come on, let's go, push, resolution, right? So we want to find the back door of something. We want the path of least resistance. So let's say it's clearing the clutter. And so then what we do is we have an intention around clearing the clutter. That's what I do with my clients all the time. I love it. We have an intention to clear the clutter, but it's still connected to, we're doing it with the intention of making space for the thing that we really, really want. So we're going to focus over here, because if we focus just straight up head on onto, finding the love of your life, it's going to be a mess, right? It's like fail. So instead we focus on something that you have less of a stress level with, so that you can focus there to achieve. Okay. I don't really love the word achieve, but that's what we're going for. So that is super, super important. The other thing that I wanted to say, and I really am interested, depending on, how, I don't even know, hopefully you all will be able to watch this. But this is something really of the work where I think I'm going with a lot of what I hope to continue to share with you all. But the other tip that I want to share is that we put so much focus on this time of year for the entire year. But the truth is that research shows that it takes roughly about 90 days to create a habit. And that's just a really, truly a ballpark. For some people, it's longer. For some people, it's less time. And on top of that, a lot of research shows that usually we set something, we put our mind to something, and within a few weeks, we already have felt so deprived, the brain does, that we're in such survival mode that we just go right back to the old habit. So, and everybody has their threshold. Some people it's a few days. I feel like mine's a few days. Some people have a few weeks. Other people have, maybe a month, and then it just kind of pops right back. That's why accountability is really, really important. But the point is that sometimes setting this big, lofty intention for the whole year of 2020 is going to be too much. And so we want to break it down. And you can break it down into some cool ways. You can break it down into the moon cycle. So for example, at each new moon, roughly for each month, when you have the new moon, that's a time where you can set intentions, you can look at your main intention and then you can hone in on specific areas, right? So remember, if we have our big intention here and then we have all these little focus points, well, depending on, let's say if I'm in July, it may be really important and calling to me to focus here. So you can use the moon cycles. And then you also, if that doesn't resonate with you, you also can use quarters. Okay, you could just do monthly, the top of the month, but quarters meaning like every 3 months. You see that a lot in business, okay? So break it down. And this is really where I feel like a lot of my work this year will be going, is how to live and meditate and be in a more embodied, core confident, really leaning into our inner wisdom. You know me, I call it the inner pelvic wisdom, because we're not just wanting to live from the top half of the body. When we're living from here, we're living from our scared heart and we're living from our overthinking monkey mind. And we don't need this. It's not effective. When we get down and we ground and we embody the lower half of our body, we release the tension in the abdomen, we connect with the entire pelvic and hip and lower back and leg area. We're grounding ourselves down and we're stepping back into our seat of safety and security. And from this place, when you do that time and time again, and then what will happen is you're bubbling up these soul intended intentions, these soul connected intentions. You are bubbling up your greater purpose. You are bubbling up with things that are actually aligned for you at this time. And let's say that like up here, I may be like, okay, I'll give a great example actually. This time of year, as somebody who owns their own business, meaning me, I'm like, oh gosh, okay. Up in my head, I'm like, okay, I've got to have my plan for the entire year. I need to be executing X, Y, and Z. I need to be having all of these events and these things going on. And okay, what am I going to do? When I settle down, and you can't see my hands because they're going down, but like down, putting my hands on my hips or my lower abdomen, when I settle my attention down here, what I was getting is rest. I wrote a post about this. What I was getting is feel the worth of your soul. What I was getting is there's nothing you need to do. What I was getting was slow down. And up here is going, are you out of your mind? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Every other business person is like out there, this is terrible. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to put it to the test. I always put it to the test. I got to practice what I preach. If I'm going to ask you all to do this, I got to practice what I preach. And as I went down, as I kept, in the trenches of like this back and forth, like, what's going to happen? Things have been coming to me. I haven't needed to push. It's just been coming. So when you set these more thoughtful, creative intentions, if you go a little slower with your process for setting your intentions, or if you want to call them goals, go for it. If you go slower with this and you slow it down like you would a fine wine, or you would, making a nice soup, then it's going to be richer, it's going to be more meaningful, and it's going to be more aligned. Because sometimes what we want here or here is not really what we need, right? Cue up the Rolling Stones. Taught that to my children. You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. Oh yeah, right? So, that's when we get into this aligned place. So, you know what? Thank you so much for listening and for engaging. Please leave some comments. Let me know that you're here. Let me know if you're watching the replay and how this has been for you, if this has been helpful. Just connect with me because I love it. It means a lot. And I'm hoping that for all of you, and my prayer for you is that we will all have a healthier, a stronger, more connected 2022 than we have even this year, because every year we are stepping and moving forward in ways where things are shedding and things are coming in, and things are shedding and things are coming in. And so I hope for you that that process is as easeful and as connected to the divine as it can possibly be. So thank you so much. Love you all, and I'm here for you. Bye. see if I can end the live video. I love Facebook.